Good morning. Markets are down again today. It is another day of red in markets. You can see the NASDAQ pretty red here. If we take a look at the SPY is only slightly red. 670 is the previous closing price for the SPY. We're at about 669, so kind of flat here. We got the NASDAQ, which is pretty red, down to 25 180s. Another red day. 25 threes is the previous close. Bitcoin tapped 100,000 again today. Again, it did bounce right at that 100,000 level right there. Again, we talked about this being a pretty big support level, and I mean, obviously I think it is. I think most people watch it and pay attention to it. It goes from, you know, 100,000s down to 90s if it breaks underneath this level here. And so crypto down significantly. Nvidia down to 186s here as well. So again, we had Disney earnings yesterday disappoint, and they're down. Or was it yesterday for Disney earnings? Again, Tesla shareholders did approve Elon's pay package. So they did approve it. If you take a look at Tesla here, at 447s, kind of didn't react too much to it. But again, the NASDAQ is red, and look at this red candle show up. Today, will the shutdown end? It's possible, unlikely, but possible. Just to put this into perspective, I've been watching this kind of path to the shutdown ending for the last day. What's going on? The Senate's going to vote today to advance a shutdown ending bill, according to Thune. The left is expected to oppose this plan as they seek a better deal. But John Thune, which is the Senate Majority Leader, told Republicans in a private lunch yesterday that he plans to hold a vote today that could pave the way to end the government shutdown, according to two people in the room who were granted anonymity. The plan, they said, was to bring up the previously House-passed CR that the left has rejected over and over again, and then seek to amend it with another expiration date. Most likely January is the expiration, as well as a negotiated package of 3 full spending bills. He thought it would win enough to advance. Yeah, so it says, while Thune believed the plan, and this is quoting an article, it says, while Thune believed the plan would win support of enough left Democrats to advance, some senators there on the left emerged from their own party lunch determined to seek out a better deal, as they are expected to block the House CR again, absent additional progress in negotiations. Still, though, it says Senate GOP leaders are preparing to keep lawmakers in Washington to try and force a resolution. When asked if the chamber will be in through the weekend, John Barrasso said yes. So, I mean, it's unlikely this is going to pass. I hope it does. It's unlikely if it does. At the very least, though, they should be, like, working out the rest of the deal, even if this one doesn't while they're there, hopefully. So, we will see. A lot of people think if the shutdown ends, Bitcoin should rise. Right? I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't know. But a lot of people think if the shutdown ends, Bitcoin's going to go up. We do have some news coming out today. Let's see. Tether is buying 960 Bitcoin worth $98 million. They now hold 87,475 Bitcoin. We're still in a data blackout, guys. We're still in a data blackout. No non-farm payrolls today. No unemployment today. We're in a data blackout. We're not getting the data. Government shut down, unfortunately. And there's nothing we can do about it. Hopefully they get a deal done today. European Union said earlier, we need to see evidence of restored chip flow from China We also had the Fed's Jefferson speak about 18 minutes ago. He said rates are closer to neutral, so better to proceed slowly. He said lack of inflation progress appears due to tariffs. It is too soon to tell how AI will change the economy, and available information suggests not much about the economy has changed in recent months. We'll decide on on his votes meeting by meeting. Cites potential lack of government data due to the shutdown blocking analysis. He said Fed should proceed slowly with further rate cuts as policy approaches the neutral rate. And he supported the October cut. That was the Fed's Jefferson. We also had Kroger come out with some earnings this morning. They posted 141 versus 130 expected here for Kroger, which is KR symbol. Revenue of 5.5 billion, up 15% year over year. We had Constellation Energy also post numbers. They posted 304 EPS versus 312 expected. They're down a little bit. Operating revenue 6.57 billion versus 6.48 billion expected. They narrowed their guidance though, so they're down a little bit. You can see CEG is down. I'm checking other big news breaking, but I don't really see much. And again, I'm hoping they work out a deal. I'm less sure they will though. Again, Disney reacted negatively to their earnings yesterday, I guess. When did Disney release earnings? This AI is just wrong. Was it last Oh, Disney doesn't come out for earnings until the 13th. What is AI talking about? This is AI today. AI says, quote, Disney shares are down 7% in pre-market. Company reported earnings yesterday. Missed revenue. Subscriber growth was weak. Where do they come up with these stories, bro? I'm you know. Yeah, Bitcoin down. I gotta kind of yell at AI and say Disney earnings aren't until the 13th. What are you talking about? All right, we're bouncing right here at 150s on the NASDAQ here. AMD down to 230s though, looking a little weak here with microchips. And again, Nvidia Tesla pay package was approved. Nvidia's at 186s now. Yeah, I gotta kind of yell at AI and say, hey, what's going on here, AI? What are you thinking right now? How dare you give me wrong information today? I'm gonna do a poll here. Does the government resume before next Wednesday? Yes or no? I tend to think yes. But vote on the poll. Does the government resume before next Wednesday? So I gotta take this. What's up, Raymond, Farmer, Fox, Ace, Pew, Sam, Brian, David, Payback, Swap, 92, Andrew left. Eva. Everybody else. What's up, guys? Yeah, I mean, I think I've heard news on both sides that they're working towards ending it. What I've heard is that yesterday they did a lunch for both sides. Like the right did a lunch getting senators together and stuff, and the left did as well. And I think there's going to be so much political pressure on both sides, because it's really both of their faults at this point, to end it before the 15th of next week, as well as before the Thanksgiving holiday. You know, flights are starting to get canceled. I think there's just mounting political pressure. I think eventually it will end. You know, I know Polymarket might say some different things, but Polymarket is just, you know, they're a bunch of gamblers over there. Like, they don't, you know, again, I'm not saying they're wrong, but I tend to think it's going to end. If we take a look at odds for a December cut, we had Jefferson come out this morning. 69% still, basically been flat. 31% chance of a pause. 69% chance of a 25 basis point cut. We'll see what happens. Yesterday, when I looked at yields, they were mostly around 4.1%, and they really haven't changed much. If you take a look at yields today, they're at 4.095% here. So yields still at 4.095%. And one of the things optimistic is that I think Thune did say that they were going to work through the weekend to try to get a deal done. And I think that's good. I don't think we're going to get a deal done today. I think we might get a deal done Sunday, Monday, you know. Bro, if it was me, dude, I would just keep them all there. I'd make them all sit there until a deal's done. They can't leave until a deal's done. They can order lunch, but you got to sit there. You know, you could sleep in the corner. And then when you're ready to get a deal done on both sides, let them get a deal done. Like, I don't know why we don't have, like, things that block what's going on right now in politics on both sides. You know, we can both try to act like, you know, your side's right in this situation. You know, either way, it doesn't matter. You want to force them to get a deal done, make them sit there all day, not do anything else until a deal's done. That's how you get it done, you know. Don't let them leave and then they can fly back and do whatever, you know. Yeah, NASDAQ, S&P futures are down. Market takes a risk-off breather over the last few days. Optimism from the Fed and U.S.-China deals faded a little bit. No new catalyst to push the market higher since we don't really have any economic data. I did buy the dip in Meta. I'm down a little bit. I'm not going to add to it. I'm just going to sit in this with my position. House remains in recess. Next hard deadline, November 15th, military payday. Again, we were supposed to have non-farm payrolls today and unemployment, but it is delayed now due to the BLS being shut down from the government shutdown. We're also seeing some profit taking in microchips. Here's AMD and Nvidia both down on the day as well here. So market's kind of flat again. Bitcoin is edging closer to 100,000 though. Bitcoin's very close to 100K. Hey, what's up, Goose? Yeah, only way to really force each other to force them to work together. We go lower when labor data gets released. I don't know. It's going to be delayed when it comes out anyway. It just depends on what the market's wanting at that specific time. May buy some Bitcoin, not full DCA because it could go to 90K. Yeah, it could. NFP doesn't come out today, unfortunately. The government shut down. It would normally come out today, but it doesn't because the government shut down. Yep. Where's Palantir at this morning? Palantir 173s. A lot of stuff slightly red. It's not the biggest red. All right, Bitcoin just broke. Bitcoin futures. Again, these are futures, so not necessarily the spot price. We can take a look at the spot price here. See what it's doing for Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin under 100,000 as we speak for spot. Under 100K here, guys. Here's spot Bitcoin right now. 99,763 here. Here's 100K. Right here. Definitely looking unhealthy this morning. Is it time to buy the dip in Bitcoin? Let me know in chat. Is it Bitcoin dip time? Let me know. The NFP is definitely out today, bro. Check again. Ugh, you're gonna make me go check this? Dude, the last time somebody said what you're saying, they were wrong, but I'll check it. Here's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Here's the home. All right. Here's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Here's the home. This was the September labor report. Suspension of federal government services. The last update to the site was Friday, October 24th. Updates to the site will start again when the federal government resumes. This is just when CPI came out. But they're not updating it. CPI was just a one-time thing. Last labor report we got was on the 5th of September. But, look, again, I hope the labor data comes out today. It's just not going to. Like, I hope it comes out today. Right? But it's just not going to, unfortunately. Like, I would love for the labor data to come out today. Unfortunately, you got, like... Yeah, we don't have NFP today, unfortunately. Yeah, if you're waiting for NFP data from the economy today, unfortunately, you won't get it. The data publication will not take place because due to the ongoing shutdown, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has suspended its operation, including data collection and publication. So we don't get CPI. We don't have no jobs. And we don't have ish to do on this Friday. But wait for the government to resume, friends. Labor data is not coming out today. Some of you guys understood that reference. Data's when the government resumes. Yeah, at this point they're shutting down flights. Some flights as well. Thank you, C. Barnes. Somebody does, you know. The good cultured people in the chat. I appreciate you guys. I'm just old, I think. I think half people are too young to understand that reference. Some of you guys might be too old to understand the reference as well. C. Barnes is in the suite, the Goldilocks spot, you know. Anyways. Bitcoin under 100,000, NASDAQ down, Palantir down, Nvidia down. Definitely top 3 streams with no data ever. Canveer, definitely top 3. Yeah, again, Bitcoin under 100,000 right now. Here's 100,000, this blue line. Bitcoin is now underneath it. It's at 99,744. Yeah, 15th is the deadline for military pay. And again, I really do have a hard time believing that they're going to let people go without Christmas money this holiday season. I think, you know. Jefferson says that given point in economic cycle appropriate that there is a diversity of views. He says differences of opinion at the Fed are a healthy thing. There was a 5.7 mag earthquake in Santa Rosalia, Mexico. And again, I say I have a hard time believing it, but that's just because I'm not a soulless politician. On both sides, not picking sides, I think they're both soulless in their own ways, you know. All right, so again, China's commerce minister early this morning announced that they suspended more rare earths related export control measures, which is good. Good for our chip market. Again, we had Constellation Energy report earnings. The question is, does the market go up when the government resumes? What do you guys think? Put yes or no in chat. Does the market go up when the government resumes? I really don't know. People are hoping Bitcoin is saved from the government resumption. I hope it does too. I mean, Bitcoin kind of needs it right now. So, nah, no, yes. Up until data, yes, yes, maybe, no. Springtime, no. Springtime, bro. Get out of here, dude. We're not even going to put that out into the universe. Government's going to resume sometime in the next 3 days. I'm going to put that out into the world, you know. Seven straight weeks of up. Yes, I believe it does. Perhaps. Not a chance. Until then, we falling. They need to open the government one day. They gotta open it one day, bro. I'm telling you. They can't keep this on. The longer... Look, the reality of it is, for most reasonable people, the longer the shutdown goes on, the more both sides get some heat. Right? The longer the shutdown goes on, the more both sides are gonna get heat. I mean, I know each side is trying to blame the other side, and I get it. The longer this goes on, people are gonna start getting mad at both sides. That's my guess. And that mounting political pressure and frustration and everything else is going to eventually make them cave and they're going to reopen the government. That's what I think. Hopefully it's in the next 3 days. Hopefully it's today. They're supposed to set a vote. John Thune talked about this. Again, I talked about this earlier. But again, I've heard rumblings of a deal to potentially end the government shutdown. Senate's supposed to vote today to advance a shutdown ending bill, according to Thune. The left is expected to oppose it still as they seek for a better deal. But again, John Thune which is the Senate Majority Leader, told fellow Republicans in a lunch yesterday that he plans to hold a vote today that could pave the way to end the government shutdown, according to 2 people in the room. The plan, they said, is to bring up the House passed CR that's been rejected over and over again, and then seek to amend it with a new expiry date likely in January, as well as negotiated package of 3 full-year spending bills. He believed that the plan would win the support of enough Democrats to advance, and that Democrat senators emerged from their own private lunch determined to seek out a better deal, and they're expected to block it again absent additional progress in negotiations, according to 2 people granted anonymity. In any case, the Senate GOP leaders are preparing to keep lawmakers in Washington and try to force a resolution to this shutdown. When asked if they would stay through the weekend, they said yes. And so that's optimistic signs, I think. You know, again, make them stay there, make them figure it out, make them both say something nice about the other one, and let them get a deal done. I think it's time. Are you long or short right now? Are you bullish or bearish today? I should have done a poll on that. I mean, we got another 50-50 split. 50% say yes, 50% say no. Does the government resume? It really goes to show how like people are usually pretty mixed in their numbers, in their votes. Like some things will get like a majority, but a lot of it's 50-50. It benefits the president to keep it closed. I mean, that might, I don't know if that's true or not. What I do know is that he's not one of the people that can end it, unfortunately. He can't end the filibuster. He also can't, you know, there's separation of powers. And so I feel like if he could have ended it already, he would have, based off of how he's been talking, you know. Now he could pressure them to do stuff, but ultimately it's not up to him, I think. Now, what he is trying to do is he's trying to get him to eliminate the filibuster through the nuclear option, which would change the rules to a simple majority and then just win the majority. Now, Thune has opposed this every time it's brought up, so I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to get the Senate leaders to go with that, unfortunately. I'd be ready for it to end right now. You know, and again, it would avoid this type of thing in the future too. It would cause, you know, this to happen less, the shutdowns to last less amount of time on both sides in the future, you know. At the same time though, I think there's a good argument for separation of powers and keeping, you know. I did see that GTA 6 is postponed to November, bro. Yeah, it was supposed to come out in May. Now GTA 6 is not going to come out until November, dude. They say, oh, we want it to be polished. Bro, put that game out. Nobody cares how polished it is, even if it's the glitchiest game ever. Nobody cares. Put the game out. Let us play it while it's glitchy, and then y'all fix it later, you know? Pushing it back 6 months. I remember playing Grand Theft Auto 3. On the original PlayStation. All right, NASDAQ, S&P break it down. Bitcoin under 100,000. NVIDIA falling down to 185. Just cracked lows of the day. Palantir breaking down. AMD breaking down. Microchip weakness again. And the question is, are we seeing a self-fulfilling prophecy? A lot of people worried about microchip overvaluations, and now we're starting to see a correction. If it's a small correction, I think it's pretty healthy. I think it kind of needs a small correction in all of this stuff. And I don't think it's necessarily bad. I'd rather get it over with now. We've gone basically straight up outside of April over the last year. And so correct a little bit. I think that's healthy. I think we kind of need it. Oh, I do just want data. Again, I want the government to resume. I don't care how they do it for selfish reasons. 100%. Absolutely. All right, NASDAQ's flushing down here, looking really weak, guys. Is it time to buy, or do you guys think we keep dipping? Let me know. Yeah, if anybody wants to play Halo with me, I play Halo sometime. Y'all should play. Bitcoin back down here, guys. Again, I'm gonna put this up. Bitcoin at 99,550s right now. 99,550. Still steady breaking down with everything going on here. Jefferson says the Fed has enough data to make policy, but not question that official data is the gold standard. He said the Fed still has a lot of data on the economy despite lack of official reports. I'm assuming he's referencing the private payroll data. Look at Bitcoin, 99,430 here, guys. Bitcoin is struggling right now. Nasdaq's falling down here too. 25,000 for the Nasdaq. I'm watching 25K even, which is right here. %51 say yes, the government resumes before Wednesday. Reach was fun. The armor lock in Reach was fun. Halo 3 was the best one. And I didn't play Halo for like years. I played Halo when I was 16, you know, when the first one came out. 17, 18. I don't know how old I was when the first came out. I was a teenager though. I think I might have been, yeah. But I didn't play for the last like 5 years. And then I hurt my knee and I'm stuck at home and I can't really do anything. So Bitcoin, guys, look at Bitcoin. 372 for Bitcoin right here. Look at it drop. Nasdaq's falling down with it. Halo is boomer Call of Duty? Bro. I've been playing Call of Duty since you were in diapers, bro. Okay? Sit down. Alright. Respect your elders, okay? Did you buy today, guys? Is today a buying day? The question is, okay, let's give you guys some hypotheticals here. If the government shutdown ends over the weekend, maybe Monday we get a big bull run. I think people definitely hope that's the case in crypto. Nasdaq's testing lows of the day right now, and it's a pretty isolated low down here at like 85. We're at 89s and 90s right now. Look at Bitcoin still dropping as we speak here. Chat, Bitcoin still dropping. Microchip still dropping. All right, we're right at the lows. Get 100,000 on Bitcoin is right here. Eesh, dude, this is looking steep this morning. Jefferson says the Fed is developing internal use case for AI. Researchers have access to an internal agent. So you're basically saying the Fed's turning into AI. Bitcoin back down under the lows. Nasdaq just cracked lows. And we're still dropping, getting some momentum down here at the lows of the day. Bitcoin as well, now to 99,300 here for Bitcoin. NFP delayed. Yeah, the Bureau of Labor Statistics is shut down. We don't have the federal workers because of the government shutdown to release the data, unfortunately. So correct, jobs report is delayed. No jobs report today, unfortunately. No NFP report today, unfortunately. Fed is AI. Alright, seen a little exhaustion bounce here. See if it continues. Again, the S&P's breaking down too now that I look at it here. S&P's breaking down again. Most tech stocks are falling down with this big drop. Meta, Nvidia down to 185s. Google down to 280s. Amazon down. Apple down. Microsoft down. All right, so there's a bounce here. Let's watch 25,100. I gotta find a way to put, let me see if I can figure out a way to put like everything on my charts like I want them to. Like at least one stock. I could put like crypto up right here. There's Bitcoin right here. Here's Nvidia. Should I bust out the green screen today, guys? Let me know. Should I use the green screen? Again, here's Nvidia falling. Another 2% down day or more. Weekend risk, Veterans Day, banks closed, stocks open. No. It is looking red. But it is Friday, though. Okay. So a lot of the time, Friday can be choppy. $52% says the government opens before next Tuesday. When are they supposed to do this vote? Yeah, so again, the U.S. employment report not published as government shutdown drags on. 42 million SNAP disruptions. 3.5 million travelers experience airfare complications because of the shutdown. 750,000 workers placed on furlough. 5,000 daily flights canceled. It's costing about 15 billion in weekly hits to GDP. Ugh. Easy, man. NASDAQ still testing lows again here. You have a fun and entertaining channel? Thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Best days in the market come after the worst days. Best time to buy is when blood is running in the streets, they say. There's blood running in the streets right now. We're still coming down here. Look at this. You sell stocks with cash on Monday, you won't have money available till Wednesday. There's some splashes. What happened when margins debt is the highest in history? Yeah, I feel you. Oh, all right. I'm just hoping the Senate vote and all that stuff ends the shutdown this week. Yeah, the Senate is voting today to advance legislation aimed at ending the shutdown. Reliable sources, including Politico, Reuters, and Washington Post, confirmed the ongoing 37-day shutdown and the planned vote on a revised funding deal. Wouldn't today be day 38? If my math is correct, we got 7 days of November and 31 days. 7 days of November, 31 days of October. What's 7 plus 31, Jack? That's right, 38. Today's 38th day of the shutdown. Love you, buddy.
Love you.
Jack's smarter than AI right there. Smarter than AI. Love you, buddy. Have a good day, man. 38 days. Government shutdown. Yeah, with AI nowadays, bro. AI tried to give me a hypothetical on Disney earnings. I see Disney earnings came out yesterday, down 8%. It even gave me like specific metrics that it missed from its earnings report. Like, in what? Why? How could it do that? Why would it do that? You know? Yeah, it's definitely the longest shutdown in history, you know, and it's a full shutdown too. Just to put it into perspective, how much worse this shutdown is versus any of the other ones. Okay, the last longest shutdown in history lasted through December to January. right? But most of these deals had already been done, right? So like we weren't running out of funding in the significant way that we are now during the last few shutdowns. The last one was 35 days, but it was a partial shutdown, which means that we had already worked a lot of these deals out prior to it. This one, we didn't get any of those deals done in time. We didn't get any of those deals struck. And so we're genuinely seeing a lot more chaos from this shutdown specifically. And the fact that it's lasted 38 days at this point is just noticeably more damaging than any of the previous ones. It really is. And so maybe I just want data to come back so I can cover it. But we got almost 900 people here anyway. It's 8 a.m. in the morning. So, you know, maybe the shutdown's helping me. It gives me something to talk about. But I'm still saying bring back the data. So Jefferson's saying Fed's still getting enough data to conduct policy. Yeah, I mean, they're looking at private data. We did have... we can look at like job postings on Indeed, fell 6.4% year over year in the week ending of October 31st. It's now at the lowest level since February of 2021. Postings on Indeed have declined almost 40% since April of 2022 peak. Number of available vacancies is now only at 1.7% above pre-pandemic 2020 levels. New job postings are just 4.1% above those. It could signal further deterioration ahead in the BLS job opening data, which has been delayed due to the government shutdown. They could be fixing the shutdown today. I don't think it's going to happen today. Look at the NASDAQ and Bitcoin rise. Here's NVIDIA right here at 185s. We are seeing some rebounds here. Let's watch 25-100 is what I'm looking at. Either AI succeeds and we're in a Great Depression, or AI fails and we're in a Great Depression. Maybe. AI has drastically increased the cost of every search and made it worse. Are we going to tank further when the government resumes? I really don't know. A lot of people think Bitcoin's going to go up. But I mean, Bitcoin's under 100,000. And so, yeah. I don't know. Sorry for picking on you. It's okay. I'm the top 3 most easily picked on traders in the world right now. All right, I was trying to think of how to phrase that. If it remains closed, stagflation or recession, I think you could argue we might already be in stagflation based off of some of the reports, but we don't really have the data to guide us, so I'm not sure. We're definitely going to see lower employment on private data just because federal workers are furloughed right now. They want permanent. Recession coming? I don't know, man. I would argue we don't necessarily see that. If this shutdown lasts a long time, which I don't think it will, but it could. Some would argue it already has. It'll definitely start impacting GDP just based off of spending and furloughs and everything else. And they've already agreed to that. I think they said numbers. It looks like the longer this goes on, every week it's $15 billion impact to GDP. So. I mean, obviously, everybody's ready for this to end. Jefferson says the Fed's still getting enough data to conduct policy, and it is going to start affecting the Fed decisions coming out. You know, again, at this point in time, yields are basically flat this week. Rise in GDP is due to government spending. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I would assume they're spending less now. Let me make sure we Fed's Jefferson says Fed still has a lot of data on the economy despite lack of official reports, and that the Fed has enough data to make policy, but not a question that official data is the gold standard. Yeah. See. See if we get the time for this. You think markets will rally if the tariffs are reversed? Possible. Also, TTD is upgraded at benchmark. Penn is downgraded at Needham. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so there's a key procedural vote on the shutdown scheduled for today. The Senate convenes at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. Central Time. The exact time of the vote has not been locked in, but is expected to be this afternoon. And again, it's not just another failed show vote. Thune is teeing this up with the intention of amending it with a new bipartisan compromise package once it passes. It's still expected to fail, they say. Senate Dems held a private lunch yesterday and decided to block this new GOP plan. They feel emboldened by the elections and are holding firm for a better deal that guarantees ACA subsidy extension, not just a future vote on it. Yeah. I hope AI's wrong here, you know. But I don't think it is. But I hope it is. All right, guys. NASDAQ retesting these low levels here, starting to pull back. We did get a little pop in NVIDIA here. But here's Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's one of the big stories of the day. Bitcoin now under 100,000 for spot Bitcoin. Under 100K for Bitcoin here. NASDAQ looking weak as well. Retesting the lows of the day here. So still looking a little scary out there in markets right now. Losing at the tariffs at this point would cause problems. Not sure the market would react positively. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people think we would react positively because maybe it's going to better benefit inflation. And that's true, you know. But, yeah. I don't think it's without risk. I'll put it that way. Again, NASDAQ coming down here. Retesting lows of the day here. Starting to rebound back up though. An Apple at 268s, AMD down to 231s. AMD is correcting here. If you look at this right below me, AMD falling down also. Are seeing a pop here though. If the tariffs are reversed, does the market react positively or negatively, guys? Also, Jefferson says the Fed makes decisions based on the data, the outlook, and the balance of risks. Also, guys, if you see somebody pushing NFP data today, NFP data is not coming out today. They are lying to you to get views. No NFP data today. I can't do it. I can't lie to you guys. Look at the NASDAQ pop up here, though. So we are seeing a bounce. AMD's up. Let's look at Nvidia. Nvidia's up. Google. Apple. Most tech just rebounded here. I don't see any news to cause it though, but are you telling me I have an accent, Chavo? Do you think I have a Louisiana accent? I mean, top 3 accents ever, but usually when I speak to the stream, they're like, nah, dude, I can't even tell you have a Louisiana accent. So I'm almost flattered you think I have a Louisiana accent. I appreciate it. I live in Texas now. My Louisiana accent's almost gone. I never really picked up a Texas accent either, though. Definitely biased. 100%. All right, will Bitcoin get back over 100,000 today? I love it, Kelly. Slight permabull accent? Maybe. Top 3 biggest permabulls ever right now. You know why? It's because permabulls make sense to me. All right? The longer you hold a long position, and I'm talking like 5, 10, 15, 20 years, the more likely you are to make money investing in indexes. Or, you know, whatever you want to invest in, as long as it's not penny stocks or mid caps or whatever. The longer you sit on those, the more likely you are to make money. Being a perma bear doesn't make sense. The longer you sit on those positions, the less likely you are to make money. And so, I'm not saying you should never short. I short every day mostly. But I think permabulls make more sense than perma bears. I would argue I'm not either one of those things. That I'm pretty neutral in terms of direction. Well, most tech stocks are down today. Not down a lot, but most tech stocks are down. Dead cat bounce? Yeah, we got one. Still downtrending. I would say we're probably in a downward. I mean, if you look at a trend here, no, it might be something like that. But we could do like this. That's probably a better one, but still, I'm just waiting. Here's 100,000 for Bitcoin. White House economic advisor Hassett warns shutdown impact on economy is far worse than expected, may have long-run harm to efficient government. That news just came out. You can see it in the chat right there. I put it. Yeah, the Elon pay package passed. Shareholders approved it. Hassett speaking right now? Hassett does say, Hassett is speaking right now. Let's talk about it. So, Hassett says, impact of shutdown on economy far worse than expected. He also said, shutdown may have long-run harm to efficient government. He said the U.S. shutdown, yeah. We also have Jefferson still speaking. He said the U.S. Treasury market is functioning well. All right, Bitcoin back up to 100K. See if it gets back over it. All right, Bitcoin back over 100,000 technically right now. Bitcoin over 100,000 again. Hassett says Q4 GDP growth will be lower due to the shutdown. Impact of shutdown on economy far worse than expected. Again, American Airlines CEO says government shutdown is impacting bookings. Yeah. Nobody's trying to fly right now based off of that stuff. I would drive. All right, Bitcoin back over 100,000. Back up to 100,171 as we speak. Let's see if it holds now. And here's NVIDIA right here. 186s. NVIDIA fell all the way back down. Remember, NVIDIA was at 210 plus. Back at 185. Very large percentage drop for NVIDIA. Again, I'm here to tell you this. Anybody that puts NFP in their title when they already know NFP's not coming out today, it's just trying to trick you into watching their stream. It's a service announcement for you guys. You're welcome. Can't lie to you guys like that, you know? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Top 3 most honest people in the world right now, I think. What's up, Chef? Bitcoin back under 100,000. NFP is delayed until the government resumes. They released CPI as a one-time release because they needed it for Social Security update. But they also put out that they're not going to be releasing anything else. And it's done by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and the government's shut down, so everything's delayed. We're not getting data today. 100% we're not getting data. Anybody that thinks we're getting data is misled. Watch us release data and me just look dumb. But again, we're not going to be getting data, unfortunately. I wish we did. We would have gotten JOLTS. JOLTS is done by the Bureau of Labor Statistics as well. If we were going to get data, we would have gotten JOLTS on Tuesday. The JOLTS job opening report. Unfortunately, that didn't come out, which means that we're not going to get non-farm payrolls, unemployment, any of the stuff supposed to come out today. Government still shut down. Last one we got was in October. Or no, last one we got was in September, actually. So... yes, Chef. Complete retracement. Are we rotating out of AI? I mean, I think we're seeing some rotation. I'm not sure. Again, here's another drop here. NASDAQ fading back down too here. Bitcoin under 100,000 again. NVIDIA testing the low of the day again here. Struggles this morning. Today we'll go lower, unfortunately. All right, we did a poll. We asked people. Let's do another poll. Are you bullish or bearish today? We're going to keep it simple. See what the bulls and bears have to say this morning. Vote on the poll. Let me know what you guys think. Healthy retracement is always good. Yeah. Again, 15 minutes until 8:30. All right, guys. Fortunately, we're not getting non-farm payrolls. I'm optimistic government's going to resume by Monday next week. Again, if Thune gets the deal done and, you know. Again, Hassett says travel and leisure industries are being heavily hit. American Airlines canceled 221 flights today. 221 flights canceled by AAL. Again, Hassett, travel and leisure industries are being heavily hit. John, without fail, whenever I'm in a stupid long, I will hear you say a healthy retracement, and I know I'm cooked. Definitely, I mean, healthiest retracement ever, I think, right there. Oh yeah, Pawn, how's everything going, dude? I forgot about that. Hope you're doing all right, bro. Hope your grandma's okay. All right, I got it in top chat. I need to put it in live chat. Elon's pay package was approved. So ECB, the European Central Bank, and one of their members suggests potential consideration of retaliatory measures against China if tensions continue. NASDAQ, S&P, Bitcoin retracing back down here. Is it a healthy retracement? Yeah, Tesla has to hit $8 trillion in market capitalization for him to get that. All right, again, Bitcoin back trending under. I mean, we could have support here at like 7 or at like 800s right here, maybe. Things are looking heavy this morning, though, to be honest, in most markets. Yeah, again, I said it once, I'll say it again, bro. In my opinion, they shouldn't let them leave the building until they get a deal done. They should bring out a bunch of cots, have them sleep on cots, order food, and stay in that building until they reach a deal. You know, if they did that, these shutdowns would last on both sides. These shutdowns would last much less time. You know, that's what they should do, realistically. Make it inconvenient, and then it'll get done. All right, Bitcoin back over 100,000. We're kind of going back and up and down. Again, Russia crude output increased in October, but remains below the OPEC plus quota, according to Bloomberg. NFP is not happening today, guys, unfortunately. Anybody that tells you it is doesn't really follow it close enough for you. You know, NFP, unfortunately, Bureau of Labor Statistics is closed. Not going to be releasing data here. Again, today is the first Friday of the month. This is historically when NFP data comes out, but we're not getting it today. We got the prelim data from ADP that showed 42,000 jobs gained, stronger than expected. It did make yields go up a little bit. Bitcoin back over 100 here. I don't know what I want to do with this. Should I trade this here, guys? I'll try to trade it. I think I'd short 150 up here. If we got back up to 150, I would short this. That song's just a little bit too loud for me. Why is the market doing this to us? You can't take the market personally, my friend. You can't take it personally. Market goes up, down, and sideways. You just want to condition yourself to be immune to that. And if you're taking big enough positions to where you're stressed out about either direction, you're probably trading too large, friend. You want to just make fun of the market like me, whichever way it goes. You know, makes you more resilient. All right, we're almost up to 150. All right, we're gonna start shorting it up here. Bitcoin back over 100K though, that's good. I'm gonna look to add more, so I'm not gonna take a big position initially here. Look at that 150. Didn't really get the chance to add to it though. Maybe I should have added at 150. I was looking at 150. There we go. I'm gonna double down here. There we go. I'm gonna take half off right there. Get out the rest there enough. We caught the rejection right at 150 like we wanted to right here. We didn't quite get the big size we wanted, but we made enough. Bitcoin's still rising back up a little bit here. Look at Bitcoin go up. Yeah, no, non-farm payroll is not coming out today. John says, be like John. I've got the humility of a goldfish, okay? You know, the strength of a mouse. Be like me. My knee's definitely about as strong as a mouse right now. All right. Non-farm payroll data is not coming out today, guys. Anybody that tells you it is does not follow it close enough. And again, I'm saying this with the understanding that if it does come out, I'll look dumb. So, but it's not coming out today. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is closed. If they were going to release it, they would warn us. They would say, hey guys, we decided to release the NFP labor report today. You know, we did this for this and this and this reason. And yeah, we're going to release it. It's going to come out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Unfortunately, we have heard nothing like that from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. In fact, they have consistently said they're not releasing the labor data because they don't have the workers to compile it and release it. They also don't have a lot of the data they need considering everything's been shut down in the first place. And I have a very hard time believing that they're just going to randomly throw this out at 8:30 without giving any warning. And so maybe they do. Very low probability they do. Let me know if you guys think the labor report's coming out today. Listen, I'll have my sources up just in case. Here. Yeah, I'm pretty strong. I would say I'm at least as strong as a muscular hamster. Why do you guys think it'll come out? Anybody, give me your argument on why you think NFP data is coming out in 6 minutes. I love you. Have a good day. There's an error. I don't want to mess up your hair. Last time you were like, whoa. Okay, well, I love you. Have a good day. Michigan sentiment is coming out today for sure, but NFP data is not. Unemployment's not coming out either. It's done by the same people. Chicago Fed estimates that the U.S. employment rate rounds up to about 4.4%. Again, the unemployment rate, the labor report, all compiled by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, same people that do CPI and others. It's not coming out today, unfortunately. We would have gotten some warning if it was. The report is whenever the government resumes. That's when it comes out. Whenever that is. Hopefully that'll be soon. Again, Thune is supposed to be holding a vote today to end the shutdown. I don't know if it's going to pass. At the very least, I think they're staying over the weekend to try to work out a deal. And I think that's an optimistic thing. Hopefully Sunday. I'm going to go with Sunday is my guess when the shutdown will end Sunday. All I'm going to say is they want ACA extensions. All right, guys. Michigan date is at 10 o'clock Eastern. All right, guys, here we go. We got 4 minutes left. 4 minutes left. I do not think NFP data is showing up today. Again, Reuters said this. U.S. employment report will not be published again as government shutdown drags on. U.S. jobs report delayed again as historic government shutdown continues. We did have there's no jobs report according to Business Insider. You know, we did have the Challenger job cuts that showed up yesterday. Over 153,000 for Challenger job cuts. Over 153K yesterday. Showed significant weakening in the labor market. We also had the ADP prelim NFP data that showed up on Wednesday, but it's private data. So, but it showed 42,000. We also have Hassett saying there should be a big rebound after the federal government opens. He said labor market's softer right now. Economy will recover if government opens. He was disappointed in the Fed on rate cut. Fed may become partisan. What does he mean he was disappointed in the Fed rate cut? He said next year's growth could be 4%. Outlook for growth is fantastic. All right, guys, NASDAQ trending back down towards the lows here. NVIDIA also, look at NVIDIA here on the bottom, below me. Bitcoin back over 100, though. Listen, it's in my interest to tell you guys, hey, you know, the employment report might come out today. We probably have more people tune in, but I got to be honest here, Chad. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, we're not even getting the employment report until the government resumes. We do have Michigan sentiment data today, the consumer sentiment. Amazon, NVIDIA still breaking down. NASDAQ testing the lows here. In fact, most major sources don't even have the employment report being scheduled for today. We'll see. A minute and a half left. We'll see what happens. You can get 100K in Bitcoin, cash, gold, or silver. Which one would you pick? I'd probably pick cash right now, and then use that cash to buy up a diversified amount of each. Maybe that's cheating. I'd buy all of them. I get 25K Bitcoin, 25K cash, 25K gold, 25K in silver. New York opens up in an hour. NASDAQ testing lows of the day again. Bitcoin back down to close to 100. NVIDIA pulling back heavily, guys. Was at 210s a few days ago, now at 185s. Big percentage drops today and yesterday. All right, guys, here we go. Here's 8:30. New York Fed President John Williams said the Fed Reserve could begin expanding its security holdings soon, according to the Wall Street Journal. They're going to start quantitative easing? I don't know. Maybe. Again, I think if we did get a labor report, the market would be more choppy than it is right now. Again, here's 8:30. We might have some algorithms pick it up, but... yeah, Bitcoin right at 100K. One of the biggest psychological levels we see. Here's 8:30. Again, I don't think it's coming out today, guys. We do have Canadian unemployment showing up. All right, here's 8:30 right now. Here's 8:30. Again, the market hasn't responded, guys. I wonder why. Probably because we didn't get an NFP payroll report today because the government shut down. Unemployment for Canada showed up at 6.9% versus 7.1% expected. Unemployment change for October for Canada showed up at 66,000 versus negative 5,000 expected. We are seeing a little bounce back here, but Bitcoin bouncing at 100,000. I'm not going to say I told you so, but it's almost like we didn't get an NFP report today, guys, at 8:30, man. What happened? I expect apologies from everybody that argued with me about it, okay? Y'all line up. I'm expecting it. It's Friday. I have to be in troll mode, you know? I would argue I'm kind of always like this, but... I think Carol made the coffee a little bit stronger. Maybe what it is. All right, guys. Nasdaq's retesting lows. Look at that 25,100 level. Bitcoin retesting 100,000. You are a gym bro. It was in your interest to hype it up, but you told us the truth. I try, man. Like I said, I wouldn't be able to lie to you guys about that. Like, how unethical would I be if I knew the NFP report was not coming out, but I titled my stream NFP report live 8:30 anyway, just to get all thousands of people show up like they normally do for my big streams? That'd be pretty unethical. And I would say I'm the top 3 most ethical person. I'm sure some would disagree with that. It's definitely not true, but, you know. Just tell us the Canadian data. That was my logic. I'm just going to give you guys some data at 8:30. It's not the data you want. Maybe it's the data you need. 6.9% Canadian unemployment rate versus 7.1 expected. A little bit better than expected there. Yeah, Canadian net change, 66.6 thousand. They expected negative 5,000 expected. Previous was 60K. Unemployment 6.9% versus 7.1% expected. Again, we did have earlier 2 things. We had New York Fed President John Williams saying the Fed could begin expanding securities, which is quantitative easing, soon. We also had economic advisor Hassett saying that there should be a big rebound after federal government opens. And I think a lot of crypto people are wanting that. Do you guys think Bitcoin will bounce back after the government resumes? Report did not come out. We do not have NFP data today, guys. Again, non-farm payroll is not. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is closed. Again, logically, do you guys think they're going to surprise release data without telling everybody that they're what time and when they're going to release it? You think they're just going to just hit publish? Low odds. Low odds. Come on now. I'm watching 25 ones. Bitcoin is still at 100K. It's kind of chopping sideways now that it's been retesting this level. Again, we have some data today. We got the Michigan consumer sentiment data. It's usually wildly inaccurate, but it's something. And so we'll cover it. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today, guys. Right. You think they're just going to surprise everybody with the NFP data? Of course not. It would get so much heat if they did. The market would be kind of wild, though. We'll see what happens when the government resumes. My guess is that they're going to say, hey, this delayed data is going to come out on X date at X time. Be ready for it, right? Like, that's what a logical thing would be in that situation. A logical schedule would be. It's not like the government's going to resume Monday, and then at 7:37 Eastern Standard Time, they're just going to drop all the data at once, and the market's going to have to surprise digest it. I just don't think that's not going to be what happens. Y'all are having data withdrawals? That's okay. Yeah, the report's delayed. Bureau of Labor Statistics is closed. I'm not really looking down on Bitcoin. I remember when Bitcoin, if you put up a long-term chart on Bitcoin, everybody's like, aha, Bitcoin, you know, at least the people who missed out on the big bull runs of Bitcoin are. But I remember Bitcoin went up to 70,000 and then went all the way down to like $10,000-$15,000 and then went all the way back up to 100K. And so Bitcoin makes some swings. Usually the trend is up big, down big, back up, back down, back up. Next stage would be here, maybe like 65. But we don't know how low it's going to get. Also, on the dollar index. Yeah, I mean, it's down a lot today with everything else. If the Fed starts doing QE, I don't know about the Dixie. FP data is manipulated anyway. Just release a random number. It can be like bingo. I can go hold the sign every time. They can hire me. AMD breaking down here. Microchip weakness is something that we're seeing here today, though, guys. So, like, look, here's I'll put Bitcoin in this little corner here. That's me. All right, here's Bitcoin. Microchip weakness is what we're seeing, though, right now. Nvidia down to 185s, testing lows. AMD breaking down as well today. 230s. AMD's all the way down to 230s, which is a big contraction from the 260 level it was at previously. Again, Bitcoin's bouncing right off 100,000. It looks like it wants to hold. Amazon is also testing lows of the day right now as we speak as well. Microsoft slightly red. Yeah, Nvidia at 180s. It was at 210s a couple weeks ago. So be careful, guys. Also, y'all check out Top Step if you want to help support the channel. No PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold. Very similar to day trading stocks. Most day traders lose money. Doesn't matter what course you take, who you follow. Most day traders lose. And so understand all this stuff on screen. Not an investment professional, but limit your risk. $50 a month for the base. When you pass it, you get a 50K funded account. 90% split, which is similar to funding your own account. If you fail, you lose $50. It's the best of both worlds. And learning to trade with a smaller risk, especially in the beginning, makes sense. You're probably going to lose your first couple accounts. Super reliable with payouts. You can reset funded accounts now. Just a ton of good stuff to use. I'll put the link up. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased because I get paid by them. But genuinely useful. Genuinely useful. I'll put the link up if you want to help support the channel. We'll see what happens today, guys. Bitcoin back up to 100.3 thousand. And microchips are bouncing a little bit. They're in a downtrend, though. Looking at our poll, we did a poll. 57% of people are bearish today, guys. 57%. That's pretty deep bears in the poll today. Usually it's 50-50 split, bear or bull, but 57% bearish this morning. Why do you guys think we're going to go down today? Let me know in chat. Do you think markets will pump up if the government opens? I think they could. I'm not saying they will, but I think it's possible. It's possible. I know crypto guys and girls are wanting that to happen. Again, Hassett says the economy will recover once the government opens, most likely. I'm pretty sure you can use it in Canada, but you want to check with them. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it's Friday. We don't have any jobs. And we don't have ish to do, but look at Bitcoin at 100,000. I'm going to keep telling that joke all day. Again, 25,081 for the NASDAQ. Where do we bounce? I'm waiting. I've only traded once. I'm green on the trade I got in, but that's right, 7. Where's United Health in the wake of all this stuff? Y'all can call out some stocks. I'll take a look at them. Make this a little more. NASDAQ testing lows of the day again, under 25. I'm watching 25,000. I might buy a dip at 25K. Yeah, UNH is down to 318s. Fell from almost $400. It went to 390 basically, and now it's at 318s. About 2 weeks later. Nvidia just broke lows of the day again, under 185s. AMD breaking down too. It's at 230s. Bitcoin coming back down. Is testing 100,000 again here. Again, the president on tweeted again. He said, Republicans terminate the filibuster and bring back the American dream. If you don't, they will do it. You'll never see office again. President. So, again, terminating the filibuster would mean changing it to a simple majority and then just getting the simple majority that they have and allowing the shutdown to end. Again, I don't think Thune and the Senate's going to go for that, though, unfortunately. Or fortunately, whichever way you want. I'm not really siding with either side. I just want the government to resume, to be honest. Selfish reasons. I'll take 2 Bitcoins, please, at 36,000. Yeah, I mean, if Bitcoin dips to 50, 40, I'm buying it for sure. I'm not telling you to buy it. I'm not an investment professional. I need a haircut, man. Look at this thing. Still kind of flat. There's not much to do here. Like, we keep breaking down, getting close to lows, and then squeezing up, and then maybe chopping sideways for a little while. So the trend's not really easy to attack here. You know, Nvidia, AMD are extended down, so I don't necessarily want to just short more just in case they don't keep breaking down, if that makes sense. Robinhood down. Yeah, I mean, it's down some. Here's Robinhood. There goes Nvidia again. Robinhood's had a year, though, man. Look at Robinhood. Robinhood was at $40 a share a year ago. Or not even a year ago. At the start of this year. At $28 a year ago. So, Robinhood's just made some crazy gains. You gotta have reasonable expectations for something that moves like this. You can't expect it to always go straight up, I think. Nvidia still falling down at 185s. Bitcoin bounced at 100K again, though. Microsoft's starting to test the previous close and goes green on the day, potentially, if it gets over it. All right, NASDAQ starting to bounce back up again. So is Bitcoin. we get up to 125s, I'll short that. I need 125s up there, though. I'm going to wait for it, too. I got to be selective, I think, today with my trading, just because of... Like, we're breaking down this morning, but it's also a little sideways over the last... really over the last hour or so. We're up to almost 125s. Apple is strong. I mean, it was strong yesterday. Today it's kind of flat. Hasn't really moved much. The liquidity looks a little low. It is starting to move up a little bit here, but volume's still pretty light here. Robinhood beat EPS. I think they doubled their revenue year over year and some other good stuff for Robinhood. So I think their earnings were good, but they're just up so much. You know, you got to have reasonable expectations. People get so tied to a direction. They're like, hey, Robinhood beat EPS revenue and upped their guidance. Why aren't they up? Like, well, they're up hundreds of % in the last 12 months. So, reasonable expectations. Still looking at 125s. AMD's fighting back a little bit. Again, Nvidia, I'm assuming as well. Not so much for Nvidia. Bitcoin, though, back up to 100.3 thousand. Again, the president on social media, again, quote, just say no, terminate the filibuster. He also made a tweet about Pelosi. Not really going to cover it, too political and partisan for me, but... All right, now we're back up to almost 125, but I don't know if I want to buy this. It kind of ripped past my level, so I'm not really trying to mess with it up here. Maybe if it dips back below 125, I'll take it. But this was too strong of a push, too strong of a green candle for me here. Bitcoin holding over 100,000, dip below it for a second. A little bit too strong for me here. Green push. Might hold support at 125 here too. Let's see. Oh. All right, I'll take 3 right here. Maybe 4. There we go. Cover some of it right there. Took a little bit of profit on the breakdown. I just want to see if it continues. I gotta cut it. Let's push it up too strong. We're still technically green on the day, but... And it might keep breaking down. When does the sell-off drag Apple down? I don't know. All right, I'll probably cut this. Again, we're mostly flat now, but I'll let it test some of this resistance first, but not looking good. What's dragging the market up? There's some blue chips helping the market right now. It's not Nvidia. Not really AMD or Apple. Apple's up a little bit. Google, Amazon, both bouncing back here. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I gotta cut it. Up too much. Bitcoin's still holding though. Look at Google bounce back. 284s for Google. Yeah, I gotta... We'll try a Combine account here and we'll just play with this. Yeah, I'm live every day here, guys. Every day I'm live here. I don't sell a course, don't sell a service, don't even claim to be a good trader. Just kind of trade live. Most of the time I'm reporting economic reports, but economic reports have been delayed until the shutdown resumes. But what we have thousands of people here when economic reports drop. It's just delayed. They've been delayed for a month and a half now. Should be resuming sometime in the next week, I think, but we'll see what that looks like when they actually do resume. We'll see if we get all the reports at once, which is possible. My guess is that they'll revert back, like, okay, PCE will come out probably on time, and they'll release the old PCE when the new one comes out on the same date, right? So, like, PCE usually comes out at the end of the month, and so whenever the date is for PCE next, I think we're going to see, they're going to release all the data back at once, right? Or back, not at once, but what I mean is they're going to release it at the same time as the next available report. So if PCE comes out at the end of the month, they're going to release the updated PCE as well as the last PCE to correct it. And I think we're going to see a similar thing with the rest of the data, with stuff like CPI and everything else like that. CPI is supposed to be, was it supposed to be this week or next week? I think CPI is supposed to be next week. So time will tell what happens with CPI. Sorry, Chef. I wasn't ignoring you. I was just kind of doing stuff in the background. What did you say? John? Question mark. Gotta keep scrolling. The fact that gold hasn't moved and everything else is red is a signal, no? Kind of. Labor is bad. Market layoffs happening. Can we trust the number? You could argue we shouldn't trust the new number that's coming out. Again, I don't know if that's true. Again, I don't know. The new number they're not going to have is as much data as they usually do to compile it, but it'll be a number. The question is just how accurate the new number will be. So we're trading this other combine. I thought I had the right one up. My bad. Cover more. I'm gonna double down on the size on this here too. We broke under a big level. That's big enough to bet on now. And we've taken enough profit to fully scale in. I'm gonna get out right there, break even here. So we get another bounce back up at 125. We'll short this again. And here's Bitcoin in the bottom right. Gold, very interesting. Yeah, let's take a look at gold here. Gold's holding at 4,000, right? So 4,000, big psychological level. And again, hopefully people understand, like, looking at psychologicals makes sense. Big whole dollar number, 4,000. Again, I'm looking at 25,000 below us on the NASDAQ here. For good reason, I think, too. Here's 25K right here. That's a big psychological level. I think people are going to be watching, too. We'll see if we hold, but yeah, same thing with Bitcoin. We talked about 100K a couple days ago, and we bounced almost exactly at 100,000. So yeah, no, I covered the ADP wheel. We had like almost 2,000 people here when ADP data came out at 8:15 in the morning on Tuesday. Data showed a stronger jobs market than expected at 42,000. But then I think yesterday we had the Challenger layoffs, and those came in at what, 153,000 or something like that. 100 and something thousand layoffs, which was the highest since 2003 for October. And so we're seeing mixed signs of the labor market. We're seeing mixed signs. I was going to short a bounce. We just never really got it here. Yeah, we got Michigan and we got Michigan consumer sentiment today at 10 a.m. Michigan consumer sentiment. We'll see what that looks like. What did Jim Cramer say a couple days ago? I gotta scroll back. I know Jim Cramer said something the other day. I want to check and see exactly what he said. Has Jim Cramer been right or wrong lately, guys? Let me know. My economic calendar has it at 11 a.m. Eastern time. No, it's at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Eastern time is when it comes out. There you go. He's 50-50. Yeah, 60% are bears this morning, guys. 60%. We got a cushion now. I will short a bounce here if we get one. But it needs to be up to 125. When is Jim Cramer right? I mean, I would say 10% of the time he's right every time. NASDAQ's still breaking down here. Jim is more like a weatherman. No matter how many times he's wrong, he still keeps doing his job. Jim Cramer's right over the medium term. Gold dividend is a piece of mind. Jim Cramer said to sell Rivian prior to earnings. Rivian's up 25%. Yeah. Do you guys like Jim Cramer? Chat, let me know. But yes or no in chat. Let me hear you. Again, effective federal funds rate 3.87% for November 6th versus 3.87 yesterday, or on the 5th, 2 days ago. Kramer's the human VIX. No, he yelled. He yells, he cries. Will the president pressure them enough to end the filibuster? Bitcoin coming back down to 100,000 here. NASDAQ is breaking down. I should have shorted this. I was thinking about it. Oh, well. I did short this. But I should have shorted this, too. Became a millionaire following Kramer, though I started as a billionaire. NASDAQ back to testing lows here. Bitcoin coming back down almost to 100,000. Let's see if we keep holding at 100K for Bitcoin here. He's kidding for sure, Tiny. I would say the more corporate the analyst is, the less you should trust them. And I'm the top 3 least corporate analyst in the world right now. Yeah, again, we're getting close to the lows, although we've gotten pretty close to them. We've been basically sideways in a trend for an hour plus now. So NASDAQ's choppy. Gold's choppy as well. AMD just cracked lows of the day, though. It hit 230.70s. If we take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA at 185s. All right, guys, we're going to be day trading the opening bell live here. All right, we're at 184.80 here, chat. We reject this 100 level. NVIDIA back down to under 185s as well here. Did I short here? I don't know. I'll try. See if we crack lows ahead of the opening bell. 25 minutes left. We got some time. We might bounce back. And we're up 560 in this one, so it doesn't matter too much either way. But so much chaos is normal now. The market's been weird though this year. It's been a little different. And again, I cover the market every year around the holidays. It's a little different this time. There we go. Let's take a little bit off here. Another breakdown. We'll take a little bit more off. We double our size on a retracement candle like this. We fall down some more. We're going to start reducing the size again since we're kind of retracing back and forth. We'll hold on to these little two. Look at Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin back at 100,000. NVIDIA testing lows of the day again. There we go. Cover some more. We'll add down on this weakness. Cover it right there at the bottom. Bitcoin back under 100,000, 99.972 Bitcoin. NVIDIA just cracked lows of the day. We're at 184.50s right now, 184.50s. What? You cover the market beyond just the holidays. That's true. Yeah. 24 minutes here. That'd be kind of a weird stream that I only stream during the holidays, you know? I'd be the greatest streamer during the holidays ever, but, you know. Nvidia broke lows for a second and now it's rebounding back up. Yeah, I mean, Nvidia earnings are in a couple weeks. We'll see what those do. I think that's the next big report. And a costume. Yeah, I had the bunny from Christmas Story costume for a while. I don't know what happened to it though. It's lost in my house somewhere. I have to find it or order a new one. But I did have the bunny from A Christmas Story for a long time. Oh, that hurts. Talk. Telling me roll tide? How dare you? Okay. How could you say that to me right now? That's not in the holiday spirit today. Last time the government reopened, SPY rallied 8%. Yeah, I actually did a question on this. Yeah, the S&P rallied on the day they resumed the government last time, up almost 1%. We also had the Fed pivot right around the same period of time. This situation is remarkably similar to the last one, which did run a bit after the government resumed last time. And again, it's very similar. The market bottomed Christmas Eve 2018. The entire 35-day shutdown period from December 22nd to January 25th saw a massive 10% rally. The rally was driven by the Federal Reserve, which had just signaled a major dovish pivot, pausing rate hikes. And again, market was already in a strong uptrend following the dovish Fed, and the end of the shutdown was seen as a risk-on catalyst that simply removed the last piece of uncertainty. And this time, the market's very similar. The Fed just delivered a dovish pivot, cutting rates and ending QT. We had the U.S.-China trade deal, market in an uptrend as well, although we are pulling back over the last few days. So the precedent suggests that the end of the shutdown, whenever it happens, could be treated as a bullish catalyst. We'll see. Top 3 Xmas movies. I like Scrooged. Scrooged, Bill Murray. I like Christmas Vacation. And I would go with I like Jingle All the Way with Arnold. You know, those are my top 3. Christmas Story, I might have just seen it too much. I like it though, it's good. Elf's too, you know, new age for me. I like Elf, but not as much. Die Hard. Die Hard's good. All right, Bitcoin bouncing again at 100,000. I'm sure the algorithms are loving this 100K move on Bitcoin. I bet you algorithms are just picking it up right here at 100,000. Look at Bitcoin back up to 265, 100,000, 265. Rallying with some other stuff. AMD bouncing, Nvidia bouncing. So the bearish movement is slowing down a little bit right now. Yeah, we just watched Home Alone yesterday. Kevin was a maniac, though, man. Look at this big rebound. It's like, should I call the cops? Nah. Let me just mess with these guys, you know? Go devious. 125 rejecting here. I could have shorted this, but we're so sideways, I don't trust it. Bitcoin bouncing back up as well. All right, again, we're sideways. Bitcoin did rebound back up. Yeah, we're starting to see some movement. Yeah, the dad in Home Alone kind of bothers me, bro. He's like, hey, my son, you know, we left him. He's like, but we're in Paris, you know? You can't let a little thing like that bother us. We're in Paris, guys, you know? Like, come on, dude. He's like, Mom, you go out there in the streets of New York and you find the kid. I'm going to stay here and just take a bath, you know? Ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's not that I'm trying to troll today. I'm just bored here, and I'm looking at sideways markets that keep testing lows. Bitcoin keeps bouncing at 100K, which is good. I hope it stays over 100,000. But there's not much to do here. I mean, you could short the tops, buy the bottoms, bet on a downward trend, but I don't think it's high enough percentage to make me necessarily interested in it. So I'd rather just sit here and wait. We got 15 minutes until the market opens. We'll see what happens. I like Gremlins. So all I really have to do is respond to the chat, and somewhere we got a long Christmas movie, so, you know. Will there be a Santa rally this year? That's a great question. Let me do this question right now. Will we get a Santa rally this year? Just to put this into perspective, a lot of the time we rally into the holiday, New Year's, you know, dates. So will we get a Santa rally this year is a good question. I think it's all dependent on whether we get a government resumption. Vote on the poll. That poll is now live. 125 continues to reject here. You can vote on the poll now. Will we get a Santa rally this year? The Powell stole Christmas. I'm sure there's a lot of funny titles you could have. The government who stole Christmas. All right, guys, we're at almost 100 here again from 125s. All right, guys, we're back at 100. All right, 15 minutes. Nightmare on Government Street. We actually have a Government Street in Baton Rouge. And it is kind of sketchy for all my Baton Rouge Louisianians. All right, 125 rejecting again. Bitcoin coming back down. Honestly, we're very flat here. We will either correct, then Santa rally, or Santa rally, and then correct. Are you tired of winning yet? The Nightmare Before Christmas. Tired of winning, I'm leaving the US and going to Switzerland. Aren't the taxes like pretty high in Switzerland? No, they're not nearly as bad. Yeah, go Tigers. What did you say about Baton Rouge? I'm from Baton Rouge. Harris. Again, looking at our polls, 60% think yes, we will get a Santa rally this year. $13 minutes. I'm gonna wait till the open trade, probably. Some are saying this is the top of the bubble. Do you agree? It could be. It might not be as well, though. We don't know for sure. And so it could be the top. It just depends, like, if we don't see any progress towards the shutdown, it could start. But if we resume, there's an argument that we might run back up. And so I think it just depends on when the government shutdown is set to resume. And I don't really know when that is. You know, I hope it's Sunday. And I hope we see paths towards the shutdown resuming today. And Thune talked about they're doing a vote today and that they're going to stay over the weekend to try to work out a deal. And I hope they do. And if they do, maybe we'll see the government resume. And in that regard, maybe we'll see a rally. And this won't be the top. I'm from Baton Rouge. That's why I was asking what you say about Baton Rouge. I said Nightmare on Government Street, referencing the government shutdown. And then I said I'm from Baton Rouge, and Baton Rouge actually has a government street, and it kind of is sketchy, you know, is what I said. Anybody that knows. Wait, are they about to rap on this song? Oh, they are. Hold on, sorry. AI just got introduced. I would say AI got introduced like 4 or 5 years ago. You know? And I would say it like this, okay? So the internet got introduced when? 1995, really, is when the internet first came out. 95, that's a terrible 90 right there. That's a bad 9. But 1995 is when the internet came out. By 1997, 2 years later, Alan Greenspan said the market was in what's called, quote, irrational exuberance. Meaning people are too excited and there's overvaluations. People dismiss that. 3 years later, we had one of the biggest bubble bursting in history, the dot-com crash. And so I think there are parallels now with the dot-com crash and where we are now. I think even if you look at the time frame of it, internet came out roughly 94, 95, mainstream by 96. By 2000, even though the internet was that next big technology that was relevant, influential, changed the world, in hindsight, incredibly influential over technology now, even though it was that, we still had a long bubble burst, bear market crash in 2000. And so, you know, I don't think, you know, saying, hey, it's AI, you know, it just started, we're going to keep running. I don't necessarily know if that's true. You know, I think it could be true, but it also, you know, we might see a bubble burst. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. Nobody really knows, and it's hard to predict in these situations. Did they really change government into a 1-lane street? It always got really busy. It's been a long time since I've been on government. I went to that Cane's right by there, though. Yeah, I don't live in Baton Rouge anymore. I live in Houston. But all right, guys, Bitcoin back at 100,000. NASDAQ back at lows here. We have 9 minutes into the opening bell. We need more power to get AI to capacity, so it's going to take time to build the infrastructure. Yeah, for sure. Bitcoin 120 to 200 by the end of the year. By the end of the year, maybe. I think we need a Santa rally. We need the government to resume. We need a lot of conditions for Bitcoin to be green like that. Again, I would watch the tape for government shutdown news this weekend, because Thune says they're going to stay over the weekend to try to work it, try to squeak a deal done. Squeak a deal out. Sunday, Monday, potentially. I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully, we get a deal done. Again, if you read this and you see what's kind of been going on behind the scenes, again, this is some news that I heard really starting yesterday. And again, the Senate was set to vote today on advancing a shutdown ending bill, Thune tells the Republican side. The Dems are expected to oppose it, though. But again, Senate Majority Leader John Thune told fellow right members in a private lunch that he plans to hold a vote today that could pave the way to end the government shutdown, according to two people in the room who are granted anonymity to describe his comments. The plan is to bring the House passed CR that the left has rejected and then seek to amend it with a new expiry date, as well as negotiate a package of 3 full spending bills. He thought it would win enough support to advance, but the House is expected to block it again, absent additional progress in negotiations on ACA. So that's kind of where we're at now. But when asked if they would be staying over the weekend, it says GOP leaders are preparing to keep lawmakers in Washington to try to force a resolution. And they asked if the chamber will be in through the weekend. Majority Whip John Barrasso said yes. So we'll see. We'll see. Bitcoin again bouncing again at 100,000. NASDAQ bouncing at this. Look at this level right here, 75. College has a new exit. I think I saw that the last time I was there. Any data today? We got Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation expectations going live at 10 a.m. Up Sparta. Yeah, Palantir. Super high PE, of course. If you look at Palantir right now, it's done crazy things. You know, you can't expect stuff like this to hold. If you put up a daily chart, again, Palantir was at 75 to start the year. Now it's at 175. It's up $100 a share for a $75 company to start the year. That's very big gains. Very big gains. So you got to have reasonable expectations for it. You know, low, super high PE ratio. But again, I've said it once, I'll say it again. Just because something has a high PE ratio doesn't mean it needs to correct. Amazon had a high PE ratio a couple years ago. It was like 70 or 80. And now when you look at Amazon's PE, it grew into it. And so just because something has a high PE ratio doesn't necessarily mean it has to correct. It can grow into it. And I think Palantir is... It's certainly possible of growing into that PE ratio, although it is a wild PE. Time will tell. Again, AMD breaking lows again down to 230.27 here. We take a look at NVIDIA. Very choppy range here and everything. Gonna send a link to your AI short from 2 years ago. Okay, let me look at it. What did it say? Yeah, so 2 years ago, already saying AI was getting high. Again, but AI stocks continue to run. John, you should get a mohawk. I think my hair is too curly for a mohawk, brother. I don't know if y'all can see this, but this is me just waking up in the morning. I don't have anything in my hair right now. Look at it. If it keeps growing, it'll just, you know. What's your take on gold if the government reopens? I don't know, man. Gold could go the opposite way, but I'm not 100% sure with gold. Gold's a little bit too hard to predict in that context. I think you could argue equities might run. Even Bitcoin might run. Gold, we'll see. Starting to see some strength here in stocks, though. Look at this. Look, it's not that I'm losing my hair, But I want to keep the hair I have. I'd have a hard time shaving any of it down. I'm just glad I have hair at this point in time. Bohawk, maybe. You know. Wait, is this true? I hear somebody saying the Fed is going to host an urgent meeting today at 3 p.m. Rumors say it's connected with December rate cuts. It's hard to tell if this is accurate or not. Let me see. Again, there's a rumor circulating that the Fed is going to host an urgent meeting today at 3 p.m. I'm guessing it's going to be closed doors. No, I got too much hair, bro. Like I really do. I've got too much hair going on. For my 30s, I'm doing okay hair-wise. I'm just glad I have hair, you know. But I have my dad's hair. Nasdaq's pretty sideways. I have my dad's hair. You know. That's me. I've got this hair right here for sure. My dad still has hair. He's in his 70s now. He's still got it. They say it comes from your mom's dad. But we'll see what happens. All right, guys, here's the opening bell in 20 seconds. I know, I look like my dad. I know, man. Y'all don't have to tell me. Honestly, all the brothers and uncles on my dad's side look the same. Yeah, I don't know. I'm reading this about this Fed meeting. I don't think it's going to be a public meeting at all. No evidence of an urgent, unscheduled Federal Reserve meeting today at 3 p.m. Here's the opening bell. There's the bell right now. Let's see what we get here, guys. Let's see if Bitcoin and NASDAQ hold over 100,000. NVIDIA is falling right now. Look at it, 184s. It's the opening bell, though, so we might get volatility. But AMD's moving up a little bit. NVIDIA's falling down. But there's the bell. NASDAQ back down to test lows here. Although AMD is creeping up. I'm seeing it on social media, the rumors about the Fed meeting today at 3 p.m. It's just rumors. If it's broadcast, I'll stream it. NASDAQ just cracked lows of the day. Look at this level right here. Underneath it now. Bitcoin back down to 100,000 here, guys. NASDAQ falling quickly here. Look at this. It's a big red candle. It's too early for me to trade, but look at that drop. Bitcoin bounced again at 100,000 though, and NVIDIA's honestly starting to creep back up some. Vampires? Hey, thank you so much for the donation. MSTZ. That's the inverse microstrategy. QBTZ, inverse quantum. Inverse ETH. You're basically shorting Quantum, IONQ, ETH, and MicroStrategy. Yeah, I bet you're doing really well if you're shorting all that stuff right now. I'm sure you're doing really well. Thank you for the donation, friend. I appreciate it. Makachev's gonna win, 100%. Rata, 100% Makachev's gonna win. Makachev's different. Jack is cool. Good striking. His grappling's just not good enough. Alright guys, I gotta wait 4 minutes to trade. We're 2.5 minutes in. Testing lows again. Again, we're kind of unchanged here since the opening bell. We're down a little bit, but it's not like a big brutal drop. And honestly, Nvidia's starting to head back up. Bitcoin's holding at 100,000. And so far, we're just kind of sideways. So because of that, I'm just going to wait until we get a little bit easier momentum to play here. We're 3 minutes into the open. Bubble Boy Burry was right after all. I don't think so. I think Michael Burry had to short that 47 days ago now. And if you look at where Palantir and Nvidia were 47 days ago, they were above where we are now. Or they were below where we are now. Meaning he's probably underwater in those shorts. Again, I showed you guys my thesis on when he covered those positions. Maybe they're long-term positions. But if you look at... Michael Burry said on October 30th, sometimes we see bubbles, sometimes there's something to do about it, and sometimes the only winning move is to not play. It's a quote from War Games, the movie. But doesn't that sound like the quote of somebody that had to cover a short position? To me, it does. That was October 30th. That was when Palantir and Nvidia were at their peaks. So I would argue he might be out of those positions underwater. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just speculating here, but... Nvidia at 185s. Nasdaq still trying here. Maddox still cracking down here. I'll short this if we retrace back up a little bit. All right, I'm gonna take a short here. Might add to it too. There we go. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna cover that right there. Switch accounts here. AMD still looking weak out under 230s now. Nvidia back down to 183s. AMD at 229s. Bitcoin just broke back under 100,000 here, guys. Poly market volume significantly inflated by AI activity per Columbia researchers. I think poly market and betting odds like that are some of the most manipulated things right now. I think it's really easy to like put out a story and sway those odds, and I think people are taking advantage of that right now. Bitcoin, Nasdaq, S&P, Nvidia, all dropping down here. We're about to hit 25,000 here, chat. All right, we're almost at 25,000 here, chat. There's 25K. Big psychological level. This is kind of a steep drop. I wouldn't buy this dip at 25K. I was thinking about it. The more this is doing this, the more I kind of want to. Oh, I got in late. Oh, wait, I'm in my Combine account. Okay, I can do this in my Combine. Show you guys this. Combine account. We'll do it on this one. We'll just average into this. There we go. Oh, don't do it. Swing for the fences. See if we bounce back here now. Again, it's a combine account, so we're gonna... Oh my goodness. We might lose it. Hold on, let's see. Again, we're already up 700 in this one, but... Or the stream. I think I just lost it. I lost the combine. It's okay. All good things must come to an end. Don't catch a falling knife. Again, challenge account, 50 bucks. Check out Top Step. You want to help support the channel? It's a smaller loss than it would have been. Got a bunch of resets I haven't used yet, but man, look at this drop. Gotta buy this one now. Let's see if we do. We'll go full size here again. It's Friday, so I'm having some fun here, guys. Again, it's a combine account, so if we lose, it's 50 bucks, and I can just play with it this Friday. For the stream, I'll do it. Let me make sure there's no news here, though. All right, there we go. Beautiful here. All right, we're up 900 on that one. Look a little scary right now, though. Nvidia back down to 183s. Bitcoin under 100,000. AMD down to 228. So I think I'm just going to wait. Hey, John, why you suggest Top Step? It's dumb to risk your own money. Yeah, I think it is dumb to risk most of, like, again, 50 bucks for the base one, right? If you pass it, you get a 50K funded account. If you fail, you lose 50 bucks. It's not the end of the world. Right, and that's much better than like funding 5, 10, 20, 30 grand in your own account and probably losing it like most new traders end up doing, is losing their first couple accounts. You know, a lot of people are trying to get around the PDT rule, so they're risking even more, and there's no PDT in futures. 50 bucks a month for the base one. If you pass it, 50K funded account. If you fail it, you lose 50 bucks. It's the best of both worlds. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, but genuinely useful for traders. I'll put the link up. Great way to help support the channel. Confirm it all with them. I can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. Look at the market fall here, guys. 924s. Again, it's looking a little too scary for me. It's too deep to short, and it's too momentum heavy to long. Under 25,000 now, back down to 24,000. And again, I would argue this correction is kind of necessary. You know, I don't think we could continue up healthily. I think the more we continue up big like that, the bigger the correction will be. And so I think a 10% correction is healthy right now, to be honest, in markets. Yeah, we'll see. Again, I think a 10% correction is kind of healthy. We also have Michigan sentiment data coming live soon. All right, we are rebounding back up. Bitcoin almost back up to 100K here. Again, we do have Michigan consumer sentiment 10 a.m. Do we rebound today or continue down here? We did a poll. Will we get a Santa rally this year? 66% of people say yes on a Santa rally. UBS raises price target of AbbVie. Transportation Secretary Duffy says air travel recovery to take time after the government opens. Intel shares up 2.1% after Elon says worth having discussions with the company. All right, AMD bouncing back a little bit here. Bitcoin back up testing 100,000. It's still underneath it, but it's close to breaking back above it here. Nvidia back up to 184s. I mean, I think a 10% correction is probably healthy. I'd rather a 10% than a 30% or 40%, you know. No. But here's 975. Look at Bitcoin back over 100,000. It's kind of chopping over and under 100K. I'm gonna get back over 975. I'll short this here. See what happens. Again, it's still in a combine account. I don't just trust markets enough right now. We'll add a little bit. There we go. Cover some of it. There we go. Nice. Still dropping. I'm up about 1,200 now on this one, but again, it's slow. I'm just looking to see if it comes back down here. Bitcoin's popping back up, so maybe we'll see some strength. I just need another $200 or so today. There we go. That's the 200 right there that I need. All right. All right, we're going to save that one for tomorrow now. I'll switch to our actual funded accounts here. All right. Waited 15 minutes after the bell today to really trade just because I think that's probably the right move. A little bit whippy this morning. Look at Bitcoin back up to almost 101s here. So Bitcoin resurging back over 100,000. Bassett says are on our way to solving China's chokehold on rare earths. Again, and Senate Majority Leader Thune told Republicans Thursday that they should expect to vote on a new proposal Friday aiming at ending the shutdown. All right, guys. So at this point in time, NASDAQ just turned deep red again as Nvidia and AMD fall back down some here. Treasury Besant says it's on its way. Or Hassett tells CNN the shutdown is hurting the economy even more than the admin had anticipated, adding he predicts 1 to 1.5% reduction in GDP growth this quarter, attributed to the shutdown. Again, the Senate is considering a revised plan to end the government shutdown, according to the Wall Street Journal and more. And this is the deal I told you guys about early this morning. So again, I'll say this. I think the longer it goes on, the worse it looks for both sides. So again, we got Michigan consumer sentiment in 13 minutes. All right, so again, consumer sentiment today, guys, dropping at 10 a.m. It's expected at 53. Previously was 53.6. Again, NASDAQ back up very sideways here. Bitcoin still rallying. Nvidia bouncing back a little bit more now. Again, so last time they expected 1-year inflation at 4.6%. 5-year inflation 3.9%. NASDAQ very sideways though. Maybe the market's waiting more on this consumer sentiment data. I'm not sure. Soon saying that to make it look like they're willing to negotiate. Nothing burger, in my opinion. Are you the one? Who's the guy that took the bet 1,000 to 1 on the government shutdown lasting into December? Is that you? Meta falling back down. NASDAQ falling back down, man. We are in a red bearish trend. Look at this candle here. Oh, that's Chef. My bad. I hope you're wrong, Drop. I really do, but I don't know. I'm definitely biased, but I hope you're wrong. I know Michigan data doesn't usually drive markets, but I think in the wake of everything going on, it might a little bit more than normal. You know? I think it might influence things a little bit more than normally. All right, AMD up at almost 230s. Nvidia 183s. So flat right now. Maybe the market's waiting on Michigan data. I don't know. Yeah, Bitcoin's trying to hold over 100,000. NASDAQ's still pretty close to lows of the day, though. And we dropped big, and now we're kind of retesting lows and then bouncing back up and retesting lows and bouncing back up. And we've done that for the last, like, 10 minutes now. I've already asked people about the shutdown. Most people here think the shutdown is going to end It's pretty split down the middle. About half people think it's going to end by next week. Oh. Again, still consolidating sideways here. Yeah, I've saw the rumors of the Fed meeting. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know who's putting out these rumors of an emergency Fed meeting about a December decision. That's what I've heard. Again, Thune just said, I'm willing to give Democrats all the things that they want, end quote. Okay. I mean, on Fox, Thune says he will give Democrats a chance to vote later today to reopen the government. Says Dems just want to fight. Okay, that's a different context. Nasdaq's starting to fight its way back up here. Okay. This is why I hate sometimes the finance media. They try to sensationalize things. Here's the actual quote. Senate Republican leader Thune said, quote, I'm willing to give the Democrats all the things that they want, ... after the government reopens, is the actual quote. Come on now, bro. That's a much less optimistic quote for the government resuming. Back over 25,000 in the NASDAQ. That makes a lot more sense, I think. Again, I'm not partisan. I'm neutral on all this stuff. I just don't know why they would leave the second half of that quote out. You know. Again, he said, willing to give Dems all the things they want after the government reopens via Bloomberg. All right, guys, 6 minutes. All right, here we go. We got the Michigan consumer sentiment data. We got something coming out. I'm excited for it. It might not be the biggest data. The University of Michigan might be wildly inaccurate and just kind of wild with their numbers, but it's something, okay? It's something. I'm excited for it. You guys should be too. It's expected today. Again, it's expected today at 53.2 for Michigan consumer sentiment prelim data. 5-year inflation expectations last time showed up at 3.9. We'll see what happens. On 1-year inflation expectations the last time showed up at 4.6. Market's very choppy leading into this report. Very choppy for this Friday. Yeah, well, the 21st would at least give us 2 weeks. Okay, I put a timer up. I mean, we got 4 minutes left, but... Michigan data, 4 minutes. I believe the meeting for the vote with Thune is at noon. I think is when the meeting is, but I'm not 100% sure. AMD back up, Nvidia back down, Bitcoin sideways here. We'll see if this data moves things. 3.5 minutes. Will the data be higher or lower than expected, guys? We got 3 minutes left. Let me know what you guys think. Does the Michigan consumer data really deserve hype? It's not that it deserves hype. It's the only data we have to gauge things right now in the labor market, the economy, and markets. And so it's not that it deserves it. It's that, we kind of have to pivot to private sources for the data now. And University of Michigan is one of those private sources. So because of that, it might be a little bit more influential. We'll see what the market reaction is like. Well, the market will at least move a little bit from this. But again, I don't know how much. Oh, you're talking about the buzzer guy? Yeah. All right, 2 minutes. NASDAQ's rebounding back up here, though. AMD's back up a little bit as well. We can take a look at Meta bouncing back some. Apple rebounding back up. Apple's technically green on the day. Microsoft is flat. Slightly red, actually. Google is down. So here we go. We got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes. Here we go. We're back over 25,000 though, and here's Bitcoin still rising back up. All right, guys, 1 minute. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up to the stream. Government will reopen. I don't know about today. I doubt it's going to be it today. I think the government, there's a longer process. I think they said they're going to stay over the weekend, though, and hopefully work out a deal. And so that's what I'm thinking is maybe by Sunday or Monday next week, we're going to get something done and locked in, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's confirmation bias. Like I want it to happen, so I'm hoping it does. Definitely possible. All right, here we go. 45 seconds. $20 seconds, guys. 20 seconds. Timer's a little early. All right, we got 10 seconds here. 10 seconds. And here's the report. 50.3. 50.3 for consumer sentiment. 50.3 for consumer sentiment versus 53 expected. Weaker than expected consumer sentiment. 50.3 versus 3 expected. 1 year inflation expectations now 4.7% versus 4.6% expected for 1 year. 5 year is now at 3.6%, so a little bit lower 5-year inflation expectations, but again, weaker than expected. NASDAQ did react to this, so this is what I'm saying. Like, this is the only data we have. Weaker than expected consumer sentiment, 50.3 versus 53 expected. 50.3 versus 53 expected. The market is reacting to this as I thought it might. Just because we don't have any other data here, right? I'll put it up on the bottom of the screen. We don't have any other data to guide things, and so because of that, the market's a little bit more sensitive to the data that we do have, which is private data. But yeah. There's the NASDAQ retesting the lows of the day here after University of Michigan consumer sentiment data. NASDAQ breaking down here. Retesting lows now. Nvidia back down to the bottom here. Bitcoin starting to turn back down here as well. Nvidia's at the lows of the day at 182s. Bouncing a little bit here though. Still around the lows. You can see that at the bottom of the screen. 50.3 versus 53.2 expected. And again, I'm probably going to use this to get out of here for the weekend, guys. Y'all have a great day. Again, check out Top Step if you want to help support the channel. No PDT in futures. Great way to learn how to day trade when most day traders lose money. Again, we'll see what we get. Well, the longest shutdown in history continue here, guys. Monday is the 10th. We'll see if we get any progress over the weekend. I'll update you guys in the chat of the next stream if we do. Again, check out Top Step. No PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, some currencies. No PDT rule. Great way to learn. $50 a month for the base one. You pass it. 50K funded account, 90% split, and you get to keep your first 10K, I think, prior to that split kicking in. You fail it, you lose $50. It's the best of both worlds. Most day traders lose money, and so it makes sense to try it this way versus funding your own account thousands of dollars. But again, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. As soon as we close this stream, guys, it's going to bring you to Monday's stream. And as soon as we close this, it'll bring you to Monday's stream. Let me know what you guys think. Will the government resume before Monday? I hope so. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day. Be safe this weekend. I'll see you guys next time.